In hypnosis theory, the ISE is considered the causal event. ISE stands for Initial Sensitizing Event. The initial sensitizing event is a situation in the past that made a person sensitive to a specific set of circumstances. Now, often what we find is that the ISE is located in childhood, sometime before the age of 5 or 6 years old. So in this program, I'm going to refer to the child. The ISE isn't necessarily always in childhood, however, but most of the issues that you're going to work with will be before the age of 5 or 6. And the signature of the ISE is the seal pattern. SEAL stands for sudden, energy, alone, and lack. These are the 4 aspects to watch for when you're doing the uncovering work. Not only will this help you to identify the ISE, it will help you to uncover the information that's most important to the client's healing. So let's look at the SEAL pattern. S stands for shock or surprise. Something happened to shock the child. So whatever it is that happened, it was unexpected. You know, one moment the child is feeling safe, she's feeling at one with the world, and then wham, something happens to change that. E stands for energy. There's intensity to the energy of the event. You know, it may not seem like a big deal to the adult mind, but to the child it feels like it's too much, it's overwhelming. And because of that, there's this zzz that goes through the mind-body system, and it ripples throughout the nervous system of the body. The body gets flooded with stress hormones, and it tightens up in readiness to respond. Now, the shock happens because the child just doesn't see it coming. It's a surprise, and it sends this zzz through the energy system of the body. And because the child is unprepared for it, there's a startle response, a little freeze occurs. That zzz is felt physically because the body is flooded with these stress hormones. A stands for alone. Now, alone is how the child feels. The child will often report feeling alone, but this is a sense of isolation that reinforces how vulnerable the child is really feeling. Before the shock of the event, the child is in this state of all oneness, you know, connected to everything. And then that shock makes whatever happened the central point of focus. The thought is, I am alone, having to deal with this. That's the underlying problem. It's having to deal with the situation alone. That's what results in a fear-based emotion. L stands for lack. The problem has to do with a lack of support, or a lack of resources, or a lack of ability to meet one's own needs because one is alone. So this is the child lacking what is needed to meet their own need for safety and security, or for nourishment. And these perceptions of lack can result in a victim identity. And victim identity says, I can't because. The child's inability to meet his or her own needs is a fact. The child is dependent, the child is vulnerable. So this sense of not being able to meet its own needs may be due to a lack of ability to make sense of what's happening. But this overall lack of power is experienced as a state of helplessness. And this results in the decision, not enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough. And any perception of threat, whether it be real or imagined, while in a state of helplessness is trauma. That's what the ISE is about. It seals the trauma into memory. It seals the memory into the mind and into the body. Any perception of threat will generate fear. And the perception of helplessness is lack of power, lack of knowledge, lack of resources, lack of support, lack of ability. So watch for this pattern in your regression sessions, because once you identify what's lacking, you'll know what needs were not being met in that situation, so you can come up with a way to meet them. Cool, right? Once you know what need wasn't being met in that specific set of circumstances, you can find a way to resource the client. And in this way, you can move them out of victim identity into a state of empowerment. Now, once again, the SEAL pattern is sudden or shock. There's energy intensity. There's a perception of being alone and vulnerable. And there is a lack of something that the child needs in that situation. So that's it. Take a moment to leave me a comment. Tell me, how might you use this information in your regression sessions? And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more tips and tricks I want to share with you. I can help you tweak your technique in your regression to cause hypnosis sessions. So until next time, this is Wendy signing off, and I'll see you again soon.